Welcome back to the Stebbins Garage YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be working on my 92 Firebird. I'm going to be working on fog lights. We're going to get the steering components set up, and I've got a few other random things that we're going to do, including some 3D printing, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to go ahead and put the steering components in. That'll allow us to steer the car. That way I can get it back on the rack and lift it up so that we can change out the K-member and stuff when that gets here. That shouldn't take that long. I'm going to go ahead and see how quick I can knock it out. All right, this is the inner and outer tie rod. You can tell the difference because the inner tie rod has a Zerk fitting or grease fitting on that side, and the outer one has it that way. So one of the things I really hated when I was changing all of the steering components is these Moog tie rod adjusters. They work, they're kind of sloppy, I haven't tightened them down, but they just seem like a big point of failure. And so I picked up some UMI units. I just grabbed them off Amazon, they're billet, they've got lock nuts for each side. And that will make it super easy to adjust, and they'll be a lot stronger. So we're going to swap those out. I'm going to take a really rough measurement just because I haven't done an alignment on this. Okay, so make sure you put your jam nut on and then get it started on one side. The end with the notch goes towards your inner tie rod. The one without the notch goes with the outer tie rod. And I don't know if I have the right jam nut or not. Let's see if I do. Hey, what do you know I do? Okay, well, I've messed around with that a little bit and experimented with how I screwed those on. If you screw one basically halfway on and then screw the other one in, you can get the alignment right. So I did just a basic tape measure alignment. So I ran a tape measure from the center of that tire over to the center of that tire, checked front and back. I'm not doing anything extravagant with the alignment. I just wanted to get them sort of where they needed to be, and I did. Okay, well, I've messed around with that a little bit and experimented with how I screwed those on. If you screw one basically halfway on and then screw the other one in, you can get the alignment right. So I did just a basic tape measure alignment. So I ran a tape measure from the center of that tire over to the center of that tire, checked front and back. I'm not doing anything extravagant with the alignment. I just wanted to get them sort of where they needed to be, and I did. So that's what they look like when you get these tie rod adjusters on. That's much more sturdy. I haven't bolted all this stuff completely up yet. My K-member is on back order. I've got a tubular cross member coming from BMR. And unfortunately, I ordered that 3 weeks ago, over 3 weeks ago now. And it's not going to be here until January 2nd. Or actually, it won't ship until January 2nd. So that's going to kind of hold me up on some things. But I wanted to get this out, get the new K-member in. I've got a big brake kit, so all that stuff is coming off. We're going to use that spindle, which you can't imagine the level of filth on that. But anyway, we're going to take that off. We're going to clean it up. We're going to tap the holes for the caliper brackets. We're going to paint the spindles. We'll install the new hubs and rotors, and I'm sure that our brake rotors won't fit because they're 14 inches. So we'll figure something out about rolling this car around. After I do that, I might get a pair of gunny wheels. And I've got new struts and all that. I don't have anything fancy, just some KYB XLs just to get the car rolling. So I still have rust repair to do. I've shown you all that before. This is all looking good. So we're getting there. My LS will be here hopefully this week. I need to clean this up. We'll do that here in a little bit. Clean that all up and then put some Pour 15 on it. Then I can go ahead and clean up this front piece, this air dam, and get that put back on. I've got my wiper stuff that needs to be cleaned up and put on. So hopefully we'll be getting there pretty soon. Stay tuned. There's a lot more I'm gonna do. So the steering is on good enough that I can steer it. The power steering lines are not hooked up, so there's no way for the fluid to really evacuate, so that's causing a little bit of a hiccup, but not really a big deal. All we wanted to be able to do was turn the wheels and have them kind of go straight-ish. So, mission accomplished. I'm sure the alignment is way off. Not really too worried about it. We'll get that fixed, but that looks good. New K-member is ordered. I ordered that today, so we'll be getting that in pretty soon. Next, I'm gonna need to focus on getting all this stuff, the rust repair and the floor, so I can get all that together. We'll get the K-member out once it's on the lift. That way I can start to undercoat or whatever I'm going to use for that. Pour 15 for some of it. We'll get that all cleaned up. I can't wait to see that nice BMR K-member in here. That's going to be fan-freaking-tastic. So this is one of the fog lights from the 92 Firebird. You can see it's seen better days. There's a huge chip. The plastic housing is in okay shape. The metal bracket definitely needs to go through the sandblaster and get cleaned up. And these things are super hard to come by, and when you find them, they're in terrible shape. This is the other one. And yeah. So, me being the genius that I am, I decided to buy the 82 through 89 or 90, I guess, reproduction fog lights from, these are Depot. Obviously they're different. I knew they were going to be different going in. There's a slight difference in the width. This has more of a curvature to fit the bumper, and this does not. These are slightly different, and the biggest thing that you'll notice is that the lens is much thicker on the 92 compared with this. However, I have a 3D printer and I sort of know my way around Fusion 360. So my plan is to use these lenses, get rid of this housing, and 3D print a piece to fit in this plastic housing from the 92 and make this lens fit. So I'll have to basically print a perimeter that will allow that lens to sit in there, and then print these side pieces to hold it, and then I can screw it all together. Sounds fairly straightforward. I assure you it's not, and I'm only slightly good at Fusion 360. So we'll see how it goes, but I wanted to give you a kind of a peek of what will happen there. This is going to be something, I don't know how long it's going to take me, but I'm going to go ahead and clean these brackets up anyway, and we'll coat those. All this wire, this is the wiring that was in this car. Like, what the heck? So we're going to go ahead and take these apart, get this plastic off of here. We'll restore this plastic to like new. I've got some of that SEM paint. So those will look like brand new. The brackets will look like brand new. And when I'm done, hopefully I'll have some really nice looking fog lights with some outer pieces to allow me to bolt the other thing in. And if I do that and they work out well, then I'm planning to sell them. We'll see how that goes. Holy smokes. Here's the brackets right out of the sandblaster. I didn't go for 100% because they're going to get coated in Pour 15, which will cover up whatever remaining rust and pitting is there. Okay, well, change of plans. Since I last showed you, I decided not to use the 92 housing. You can see the JB Weld, awesome. I decided to use this replacement housing, and I made a bracket. So I did this bracket in Fusion 360. It's 3D printed. This is just the low res quick print, and I had to, let's go over to the car. I had to remake one of these front pieces that holds the lens in. You can see how thick that one is. I had to make one that was thinner because the way this will work is, here's the bracket. This bracket goes in here like so, and then this bracket will actually attach. I'll put it in backwards. That goes in something like that. This bracket will attach there. Let me move this out of the way for now. Okay, so then this bracket goes in like so. And this slides right behind just like that. It's pretty slick, right? So it looks almost identical to the stock piece, only these are $65 and whatever time I spent making the brackets, and I can make as many as I want. I might even sell a kit if there's any interest. So I've got that smaller piece there that I made. I'm really proud of that. It's got some little fingers on the other side to hold it down. And I've got a spacer for the spring. I haven't printed yet. And then there's the bracket. So once all's said and done, that will fit in there. And once the bumper's on, I don't think you'll actually even be able to tell that those aren't the stock lights, honestly. Somebody will know if they know, but quite honestly, for the money, I mean, these go for $100 a piece. And by these, I mean the stock ones that are all rusty and nasty. I mean, I saw some like this one for $100 on eBay, and I assume somebody's paying that much for them. So that's where we ended up. Pretty happy with that. That'll replace that. So we're essentially making a bracket that replaces this housing with this housing, and then it kind of fits in there. So I'm good with that. It looks good, it fits good, and I think for the time that I invested, I'm super happy with it. Let me know what you think. Okay, so here is the redesigned bracket. You can see one side's longer than the other, and I've got the angled holes, so when I mount the fog light here, it's angled the correct way. I basically did this thing from just a drawing, which looks like this, and I've kind of iterated off of there into something like this. So pretty neat. I'm happy with it. I'm definitely no expert in Fusion 360. It's taken me a lot of time of trial and error, but that's where we are. Let's go ahead and hit print, and we'll send this to my printer, and then in a little over an hour we'll have a solid ABS bracket that I can use to mount the other fog light. We have a finished piece. Let's go mount it on the car. This is the case with a lot of 3D printed parts. I have to drill my holes out just slightly just to make sure that they'll work properly. There's the completed bracket ready to go on the car. All right, there's the bracket. You can see this one is angled. Here's the original, or one of the iterations that I did. You can see the difference. So this hole is actually angled forward some, and that gives us enough room for the fog light to fit. So I've gone through probably a dozen iterations. This one looks really good. It fits on the car nicely. So overnight, printed some new pieces. Spacer, the little holder for the fog light, and this is the bracket. These are printed in 100% infill ABS plastic, so they're good and strong. Ready to go ahead and coat this bracket. I'm going to just do some satin black pour 15 on both of those. They'll be ready to install, and we'll let that sit for about a day and then get those put in. Alright, these brackets are dry. It's time to go ahead and reassemble these things. Here we go. So I'm gonna end the video here. Been working on this thing off and on for, it seems like 3 or 4 weeks since the last video. Not a lot of progress. I've had a lot of other projects going on, but I really hope that you're excited about the stuff that's getting ready to go in this. I'm gonna be working a little bit more on the rust repair. We're gonna get some more of these pieces put in the engine bay, and we're gonna get some wiring done. I've got a bunch of stuff that has to happen before I can even drop the engine in. So on the next video, hopefully we'll have our LS. You probably will see that at the beginning. My buddy James is gonna drop that off. And we'll go ahead and start working on some of the other stuff. So make sure that you're subscribed and leave me a comment. See you on the next one.